Good morning. Okay, so today we're moving on to using short division to be able to divide. A large part of today's lesson is also about estimating our quotient before we work it out. So to begin with, let's just familiarise ourselves with what a short division looks like. So we've got our dividend and our divisor. We set it out like this. There's our dividend and there's our divisor. And we're saying how many equal groups of 4 can I get into this number? Now, where possible, we want to be able to unpick that dividend to make our division as easy as possible. So we can see that the 8 and the 4 are both multiples of 4. I know that that represents 80. 80 divided by 4, I can use 8 divided by 4 equals 2. So 80 divided by 4 must equal 20. So by putting my 2 in the tens column, that represents 20. I then move into my ones column. How many equal groups of 4 can I get from 4? That's the same as saying 4 divided by 4 is equal to 1. So my answer ends up being 21. Okay, that's easy because these two numbers are multiples of 4. When we don't have numbers that are multiples of our divisor, that's when our short multiplication comes into its own and we're able to use it to be able to divide larger numbers by divisors that are 1, 2, 3 digits. But where they're all multiples of, so for example 63 divided by 3 or 82 divided by 2, you can see straight away that each of the tens and each of the ones are multiples of that divisor. Have a go at those two, maybe pause the video, just unpick them. Which number is my dividend? Which number is my divisor? How does that look using a short multiplication? Okay, and then we look at how do we use a short multiplication method when we're dividing larger numbers. So here we've got a 4-digit number divided by a 1-digit, divided by 7. So we've got 2,387 and I've put that here as my short multiplication. Now before we even get to using short multiplication, we need to make an estimate and we need to try and decide what range is our quotient going to fall between. So let's think about what we know. Well, I know in the number 2,387, I've got a closest multiple of 7 there. I've got 2,100. That's a close multiple of 7. And 2,100 divided by 7 is going to get me fairly close to what 2,387 divided by 7 is going to be. So I can start using what I know. Well, I know that 21 is equal to 7 times by 3, but we know that 21 is obviously far too small. So we could make it 10 times larger again. 210 is equal to 7 times by 30. 2,100, which is now where we're starting to get towards our dividend, is equal to 7 times by 300. Now there's still quite a bit of difference between 2,387 and 2,100. So we know that our quotient's going to be larger than 300. We could go to the next multiple of 7 now, which is 2,800. That would be the same as 7 multiplied by 400. Now straight away, that number is too large. It's larger than our dividend. So that tells me that my quotient is going to be between 300 and 400. So we can make a note of that to the side. Make a note at the top here because that's telling us that if my quotient isn't between 3 and 400, then I've made a mistake. Okay, so let's look at how we can divide this using short division. So I can see that I've got 23 here. I know that 21 is a known fact. I know that 7 times by 3 is going to get me to 21. So if I'm looking at the number 23, I know that I've not gone into my next multiple. I could write them here, because my next multiple of 7 is 28. So 7 into 21 is 3 times. Now we know that that 20 there represents 2000s, my 3 represents 300. So it's like writing 23,000 divided by 7, but I'm using what I know about 23 divided by 7. So we've said our known multiple of 7 is 21. 21 divided by 7 is 3. The difference between 21 and 23 is 2. So I'm going to carry that 2 over here. So if I was counting up in my 7s to get to 2,300, I know that I would have 200 left, because that's the same as the difference between 21 and 23, which is 2. So I've now got the number 28, and I'm in my tens column. So I've got 28 divided by 7. Well, 28 divided by 7, we know through our listed multiples of 7 here, is 4. And there are no 7s left over this time. That's a multiple of 7 exactly. And then in my ones column, 7 into 7 is 1. So I get my quotient as 341. If I go back to my estimate, then it matches my estimate between 300 and 400. Okay, so for each short multiplication today, I want us to look at the estimation. Can you estimate what your quotient's going to be between? And the Let's Explore asks you to explore 4 estimations. Decide which one is useful. Would you use that way of estimating, or do you disagree? Do you have a different way? And then as you work through the independent activity, you're using short division to find the quotient for each question. Okay, good luck everybody.